It's one of my favorite Coen Brothers movies, but one that most people don't really pick as their favorite, or one of their favorite Coen Brothers movies. It's The Man Who Wasn't There from 2001, a neo-noir black and white movie starring Billy Bob Thornton. Let me tell you why I think it's great about this movie, maybe how you could watch it, give you some insights into that, coming up next. So this movie comes, a few years after Fargo, The Big Lebowski. I think it's a year after Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And I don't know why this movie wasn't on my radar. I only just watched it recently and I was blown away by it because it has all or many of the Coen Brothers hallmarks. One of those hallmarks is good writing. So they have an unreliable narrator here. This is no spoiler, the voiceover narrator of the Billy Bob Thornton character, who is a barber. And since he's in a noir, you know what's going to happen, sort of. He's going to get involved in some kind of crime. Now, from now on, I'm going to spoil the movie, just so you know. But go watch this movie if you like anything by the Coen Brothers. The movie is set in 1950s California. Of course, this is a nice conservative place, rural, maybe a small town place, as we're told. And this barber, I don't know if you've ever been to a barber shop. I haven't been to a barber shop in a while, okay? When I was a barber, I liked to talk my ear off. This has all the hallmarks of being quirky and weird, like the Coens want to do. Here is a barber who doesn't talk. That's ironic. There's a double irony because he talks a lot. He's the voiceover narrator. He's blah, 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 the whole movie. And so you have these nice contrasts with the Thornton character talking to us, but we're never sure. Once you get into the movie, you know this for sure. You're never sure what you're seeing is really real or just his perspective. Once you go back to the movie, you can see that that's a problem, a question at least, throughout the entire movie. Now, this is a classic wrong man movie, Hitchcock-like wrong man movie. They get the wrong person. A lot of people are indicted for crimes in this movie they didn't do. We know that because we see the crimes happening. But it's all ironic because some people do the crimes, well, like the barber, and yet are not convicted, or they're convicted for the wrong crime. Like there's no crime here where the guilty person is actually found guilty. Innocent people are found guilty of things they didn't do. So that's an interesting feature. No crimes are assigned to the actual perpetrator. And the barber's existential choices cause a lot, if not all, of the problems in the movie. Now, basically, again, it's a noir movie. So his best friend is having an affair with his wife. He's jealous. He blackmails the guy because he has this investment opportunity to invest in dry cleaning. Yeah, $10,000 of blackmail. And so he's trying to extort money out of his best friend. And he and his wife have not a great relationship, played by Frances McDormand. They haven't had sex in a while, as he says late in the movie. And he's also got, and this is weird, the Lolita Hots for the Scarlett Johansson character, who's playing a piano player, a burgeoning piano player, playing Beethoven sonatas for most of the movie. Does he have really a sexual attraction to her or not? That's an open question. But it is that Lolita Nabokov sort of creepy thing, and I think that Humbert character is a little echo in this movie of the Ed Crane, Billy Bob Thornton character. Actually, before I go on mentioning other literary sources, I came across this poem pretty recently, William Carlos Williams' Death the Barber poem, which the Coens are literate, they're well versed in all kinds of at least 20th century literature. I have no doubt they know this poem and are probably sort of using it in this movie. But maybe the reason to watch is just some of the formal elements. The black and white cinematography is awesome. I mean, just perfect, wonderful to look at. This movie, like a lot of black and white movies, looks like it came out 20 years after it actually did. I even love the three-dimensionality of the opening credits scenes, which I haven't seen, like the shadows of those opening credits. That is so weird and fascinating. The Coen Brothers are great at moments and at lighting and at weird characters' faces and strange choices. Well, I think one of the things they're getting at, which they cover in a lot of their movies, including Big Lebowski and so on, is existential questions about the modern man. This is almost a throwaway line late in the movie about the barber, and we know all of his terrible choices in this movie, including to be silent, sins of omission, along with sins of commission, things he did, but things he didn't say he did, which he should have confessed to. He is called a modern man.
Most specifically, this is the barber's dilemma. For he is modern man.
In fact, the context is his trial. Okay, spoiler alerts. He's called a modern man, and then his lawyer tells the jury to look at the meaning of the facts, and then the facts have no meaning. His lawyer's totally postmodern, using the Heisenberg uncertainty principle to say that we can't know anything and nobody knows anything, therefore there's no truth almost. and that Billy Bob Thornton is using this lawyer who's a terrible person, in my opinion, played wonderfully. I just love this performance, by the way. But then he's asked twice in this movie, once by a character who's pretty nasty, what kind of man are you?
What kind of man are you? What kind of man are you?
Oh! What kind of man are you? What kind of man are you?
That's a good question because he's actually writing about it, and that's the subject and nature of his voiceover. Maybe trying to explore the question, what kind of man are you? Is there meaning in life? What is meaning? What is the afterlife? Does anything matter? Oh my goodness. Now we're in these questions of nihilism, existentialism, and so on and so forth that the Coen brothers really, really love. What's the point of death? Where do we go when we die? They deal with these questions. In fact, I find that they deal with them in their filmography, later in their filmography, a lot more, and not more seriously, but more openly. But this movie certainly does that. No Country for Old Men on in their filmography, but this one is really signaling these problems. And the barber at one point, very laconic, actually says something, one of his few words out loud diegetically in the movie. He talks about his hair. He's meditating on his kid's hair. He's just cutting hair. And he says the hair keeps growing, and it always grows, and it never stops.
It keeps growing. It's part of us. And we cut it off and throw it away.
Well, it's right at the moment where he initiated all the problems in the movie with the blackmail letter. The hair keeps growing. Late in the movie, they'll shave his hair on his execution chair. It will stop growing? No. It won't stop growing because his words keep going and interpretations could grow out of this movie. He's right. The hair, whatever that means, are words, are legacy, meanings, truths, interpretations of meanings and truths. They keep growing, changing. Now we're back at the lawyer problem. Does anything have meaning? So that's to say the movie is interested in beauty. Beauty is some kind of truth, whether it's Beethoven's sonatas and the oral sonic dimension of the piano playing in this movie, or in the filmography, or the cinematography, or the black and white richness of the noir, which, as I've said, is so amazing. I'm just blown away by this movie every time I watch it. The shot making, all the performances, there is beauty in the aesthetics, but in the content, there's dark, disturbing subject matter, and there's beauty, truth, and truth, beauty, and is that all we have? And I think the Coen brothers really wrestle with these major questions while making entertainment, because I think this movie is fun to be engaged with throughout. It probably strikes people as very slow, but it's a callback to so many noirs, including all the Hitchcock movies, The Man Who Knew Too Much, The Man Who, you know those movies, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. These are callback, the title's a callback to those movies, but the man who wasn't there. Where? Well, he wasn't there to do the crime, or he wasn't there as in he doesn't exist, or he wasn't there as in he's gone, like he's dead and there is no afterlife. There's all kinds of possibilities for this title, but once this movie is dealing with art and beauty, film history, and it's really interesting philosophical and cultural content. For all these reasons, and I've given so many things in this movie short shrift, we could discuss these things endlessly. Oh my goodness, this is, to me, one of their best movies. I just love it myself personally. I'm glad they brought the noirs back. This reminds me, by the way, of 1950s 60s detective fiction like Ross MacDonald. I think the Coen brothers really love him. Jim Thompson, even Dashiell Hammett, going back a little bit, Raymond Chandler, and so on and so forth. I think they love the literariness of writing. They bring it into film, and they love the awesomeness of 40s and 50s noirs. So you have this wonderful combo, which is just wonderful for me. I absolutely love it. Well, have you seen this movie? What do you think about it? How do you rank it in terms of the Coen brothers? Let us know. I think it deserves to be brought back and shown and appreciated for its wonderfulness. Is that a word? I don't know, but I'm really in awe of this movie the more and more I watch it. Please subscribe to this channel for more great content. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.